Hello everyone. So today our topic is limitations of planning. Right? There are certain disadvantages or demerits or limitations of planning because I told you that planning plans are made for future and future is all uncertain, right? So we can reduce the risk of uncertainty, but we cannot eliminate it. I told you in the importance of planning that planning helps in the decision making, planning helps in setting up of objective, planning helps to achieve our goal, but still we can say that it reduces the risk of uncertainty, but it will not eliminate the chances of risk, I should say. So there are certain limitations of planning. First one is planning leads to rigidity. Rigidity means which cannot be changed or which is not flexible. So we can say that whatever the plans we made, these are not flexible, they are rigid. Because there are two types of plans, major plans and minor plans. Major plans, if we are talking about major plans, so major plans are the main plans of the organization, which is known as objective. Whereas minor plans are those plans which helps to achieve that major plans, right? So we can make the changes in minor plans but not in major plans, because nowadays the scenario has been totally changed. We have to hire the experts from outside to make the plans and policies for our organization, so it takes lot of time and lot of money also. So once the plans are prepared, so it is very difficult to change these plans. That's why we can say that planning leads to rigidity. Second one is planning may not work in dynamic environment. As you know that the environment is dynamic, the business environment is dynamic, it keeps on changing. The business environment can change, the political environment can change, the taste and preferences of the customers can change. So the environment is totally dynamic. So whatever the plans we made, it will not 100% work in such type of dynamic environment, right? So we can say that planning does not work in dynamic environment. The environment in which a business survives is dynamic, as there are continuously changing takes place in economic, social, I told you, and organization have to adopt themselves to these changes in order to survive. So I should say the environment consists of number of segments, and it becomes quite difficult to forecast the future changes with absolute accuracy. For example, it is very difficult to make accurate forecast about economic condition, government policies, है ना, human behavior and so on. So if a manager fails to accurately forecast these changes, then planning does not provide positive results. So we can say that planning may not work in dynamic environment. Next one is planning reduces creativity. As I told you that whatever the plans, whatever the policies are there in the organization, they are formulated by the top level management only, right? So usually the rest of the members are required to implement these plans only. As a result, the middle level management and other members are neither allowed to deviate from the plans, nor are they granted power to act on their own. Means they are not able to take they are not able to give their initiative to the top level managers. Once the plans are made, they will have to implement the plan blindly, right? So for example, we can take an example like a worker is given a target of assembling 2 computers a day. Due to his habit of doing things differently, an idea stuck in his mind, which would not only reduce the assembling time of computers but would also reduce the cost of production of computers. There was a supervisor. He, instead of appreciating him, ordered him to complete the work as per the methods and techniques decided earlier, as nothing could be changed at that stage. So what does it mean? That the creativity always reduced here. Whatever the plans, whatever the instructions given by the top level managers, you will have to implement that plans as it is. You can't make the changes. Whatever the creativity the middle level people have, the lower level people have, they can have the creativity with them only. There is no scope to show their talent, there is no scope to show their creativity in planning. Fourth one is planning involves huge cost. As I told you in the beginning, that planning is a costly process. Huge costs are involved in the formulation of plans. Money, time, and efforts have to be spent in forecasting, gathering, and analyzing of information, right? Because it is a mental process, it is an intellectual process, and companies need to hire the professionals, experts to carry on this process. Sometimes cost incurred may not justify the benefits derived from these plans. So management must exercise intelligent judgment in order to balance the expenses incurred on preparing plans against the benefits derived from them, right? So we can say that it involves huge cost. If you want to make plan for your organization, that it involves huge cost. Next one is planning is a time consuming process. Obviously planning is a time consuming process, because if you want to make any plan, then you will have to do so many analysis, interpretation, and you will have to collect the data also. So we can say that planning means whatever the decision you need, whatever the decision you want to make, it takes lot of time. Sometimes if you want to take the decision on the early stage, then you can't take the decision because it takes lot of time, right? So if you want to prepare any plans and policy, then it is a very time consuming process, because you will have to go through number of analysis, number of interpretations and all. So planning may cause delay in decisions also and actions also. Sometimes so much time is taken in formulating the plans, as a result of which very less time is left for their implementation. Next one is planning does not guarantee success. Whatever the plans you made, it is not 100% accurate, I should say. For example, means managers have a tendency to rely on the previously tried and tested successful plans. Whatever the plans, whatever the policies we made in the past, generally the managers want to go on that particular track only. They don't want to change the plans and policy. They don't want to change their style of doing the work. So I should say that it is not always true that a plan which has previously worked and tried is successful in the past will bring success in the future also. There are number of unknown factors are there which may lead to failure of plan in future. So plans must be formulated and implemented in the light of changing environment. I told you that business environment is dynamic, keeps on changing. So whatever the plans which have worked in the past, it is not sure that it will work in future also. There are certain other limitations also, which is very journal limitations, natural calamities, like if any earthquake, flood or volcano eruptions will come, then it may result in failure of planning. Changes in business, changes in government policies. So these government policies are also beyond the control of the business, as there can be any taxation policy, bank rate, which may lead to failure of your plans. Change in fashion, taste, demands and preferences of the customers may also result in the failure in your plans. Strategies of competitors, technological changes, means these can be the consequences. These can come in front of you in the form of failure of the plans, I should say, right? The next topic is planning procedure. So there are 7 steps in planning procedure: setting up of objective, developing premises, identifying alternative course of action, evaluating alternative course of action, selecting an alternative, implement the plan and follow up the action. This is very important procedure, and the chances of this question in the board examination is means 90%, I should say. First one is setting up of objective. It means that if any means this is the planning procedure, how a plan is made. In this procedure we just come to understand that how a plan is made. First one is setting up of objective. If you want to make the plan, then first of all you will have to set the objective. Your objective always be in the terms of numerical value, I should say. Means if you want to achieve 20% if you want to achieve 90% marks in your board examination, if you want to increase the sales by 20%, 30%. So first of all, every organization or every people have to set their objective, which they have to do their efforts in the direction to achieve it. So first one is setting up of objective. Second one is developing premises. Developing premises means as we have to make the plans for future, so we have to make certain assumptions also, because future is always uncertain. So we have to make our own assumptions, and we can make these assumptions by taking the data from the past information, from the past record. We can make these assumptions by analyzing or by taking the data from the past record. So this is called developing premises. So first one is setting up of objective. First of all, we have to set our objective, in which direction we have to do our all efforts. Second one is developing premises. We have to make certain assumptions in our mind that what can be the possibility in future regarding our objective, and these possibilities, these assumptions can be prepared with the help of taking the data from the previous plans or from the past records. Next one is identifying alternative courses of action. If you want to make plan, then you have certain objective, and to do a particular task you have number of courses of action. Courses of action means number of alternatives, number of methods to do a particular work, to do a particular thing. I should say there are number of methods, there are number of courses of action. So we have to identify that what courses of actions can be there which help you to achieve your objective. After identifying, we just have to evaluate the alternative courses of action. Evaluating means we have to find out whether the alternatives have positive or negative aspects. For example, I can give you an example. One, two, three, four. We have 4 courses of action to do a particular thing. We have 4 methods to do a particular job. Then we have to select whether the first one is good, whether the second one will be good, whether the third one will be good, and whether the fifth one will be good. So we have to find out the positive as well as negative aspect of each and every method. We will analyze, we will identify how many positive aspect will be there, how many negative aspect will be there in the first method, how many positive aspect, how many negative aspect will be there in the second one. So like this, we just have to evaluate each and everything. We just have to evaluate each and every alternative, each and every courses of action. This is called evaluation. For example, after your examination, your teacher is evaluating your answer sheet, how much you have done correct, how much you have done wrong. So this is called evaluating. Just like that also, we just have to evaluate the thing, we just have to evaluate the courses of action, that how much positive aspect is there, how much negative aspect is there in each and every method, right? So this is called evaluating the courses of action. For example, the alternative should be compared in the light of objectives, cost, risk, planning premises, benefits, availability of capital, etc. So the feasibility and the consequences of each alternative must be scrutinized before a choice is made, right? After evaluating, we just have to select the best method. And which method will be selected? That method which have less negative aspect and more positive aspect, right? This step involves selection of the best alternative. This is the real point of decision making. The best plan has to be adopted and implemented, and the ideal plan would be the most feasible, profitable, and with least negative consequences, right? For example, using waste material in manufacturing stuffed toys is the best solution for increasing profits. Sometimes, instead of selecting one best alternative, a combination of two or more than two alternatives may be selected. So it depend upon the conditions. So this is the final point of our decision. We have to select the best method. Next one is implement the plan. Whatever the plan we have selected over in the fifth point, it's the time to implement the plan. This is the step which is concerned with putting the plan into action, right? So whatever the plan you have made, you will have to communicate it with your employees that this is the plan and you all have to work according to this plan. This is called implement the plan. And the last one is follow up of action. This is a very important point. Without this point, planning procedure is useless. We have to follow up whatever the plans are made in the sixth point, that is implementing the plan. It means to see whether the plans are being implemented and activities are performed according to the plans or not. As I told you that planning is an ongoing process, so the manager's job does not get over simply by implementing the plan. The managers have to monitor the plan carefully while it is implemented or not. He have to understand whether whatever the plans they have made, it is understood by our employees or not. If they have not understood by their employees, then again they have to make it understood to their employees so that the plans can be run successfully. And monitoring of plan is very important because it helps to verify whether the premises are holding true in the present condition, and if it is not, then we can change our plans also. Now you have a question in your mind that ma'am is asking regarding the changes in the plan, and in limitation I told you that plans are rigid. Yes, plans are rigid, but I told you that major plans cannot be changed. Whatever the major plan was there, whatever you have set it the objective, it will not change. The minor plan will change. If your employees are finding any problem in implementing the plan, if you find that there is certain changes in the business environment, we have to change our plan, then we are not supposed to make the changes in major plan. We can change the minor plans. This is called follow up of action. Again, I am telling you that after implementing the plan, the manager have to keep a check whether the employees are able to understand whether the employees are doing work according to the given plan or not. If they are not able to work on that particular plan, then he should go through that and find out the reason. And if the reason is the changing business environment, then they can change the minor plans, right? We can make the changes in the plans, but not in major plans. We can change the minor plans. So this is the planning procedure. First we have to set the objective, then we have to make certain assumptions for future by taking the records or information from the past. We have to identify the methods or the courses of action which is possible. Evaluating, we have to analyze each and every course of action and find out the positive and negative aspects. Selecting an alternative, we just have to select our best alternative which have less negative and more positive aspects. Implement the plan. This is whatever the final plan we have made, it's time to implement the plan by making it understood to our employees. And after, last one is follow up of action. We have to follow up, the manager have to follow up whether the employees are doing work according to the plans they have made. And if the employees are finding any problem, if any changes are taken place in the business environment, then we can change our minor plan but not in major plans.